Show for today, excuse me, we're talking to Pastor KWalker and Reverend JAlexander in reference to some of the issues involved in the Tennessee prison system. Reverend Alexander, if you look at the prison system, what would you consider to be some of the current issues dealing with the prison system as we meet it today?
Sure, Dr. Haney. And you referred to this as a system in crisis at the beginning. And a number of events have occurred that have kind of come together to form, I guess you could say, a perfect storm, if you will. A little bit of history for your viewers. Our current prison system, it's operating at over 98% capacity, okay? For the past 20+ years, this system has been operating in what's been called a declared state of emergency for overcrowding. Now, what's interesting is our governor 2 weeks ago indicated that there was no overcrowding and that we wanted a system to run at 100% capacity. Well, Pastor Walker and some of your guests who will be on shortly will certainly remember something called the Grubbs case that came about along with the federal takeover of our prison system because the conditions were so bad and overcrowding was so bad. We certainly do not want a prison running at 100% capacity. So we've got a situation where we have an overcrowded prison. We have a situation where we have a significant shortage of correctional officers at this time. We have correctional officers speaking out about the conditions of the prison, about the safety in the prison, about the fact that there aren't enough officers who are well trained to do their jobs, and more are quitting all the time. The rate of attrition is very high. So you have overcrowding, you have fewer officers, and by the way, this isn't new. People have been trying to speak out for a good solid 5 years now. And for whatever reason, it's finally getting the attention that it deserves. And so take this overcrowding and a lack of officers and shortages, combine that with dangerous conditions. We're now seeing reported at least every week another severe violent incident in Tennessee prisons, whether that's in Northeast Correctional Complex, Northwest, West 10, South Central. Week after week, something else is being reported. And then we had this interesting thing, the Governor's Task Force on Sentencing, which just came back with its recommendations on August the 6th. And a number of those recommendations are actually quite good. I mean, we support them, we can get behind them. But there are at least 4 recommendations that, if implemented to increase truth in sentencing at 85% law to cover all felonies, is going to absolutely increase the prison population exponentially over the next 10 to 15 years. And so when you have commissions making recommendations that will increase the prison population, when you have a prison system that is seemingly getting very close to being out of control, and a commissioner and a governor who claim that the only problem is a problem of perception, there is something wrong. When you have prisoners and guards both alleging the same facts and circumstances, both begging to be heard, then lawmakers better listen. Because what we don't want to have happen is the same crisis that brought us to the Grubbs case and have the federal system take over the Tennessee prison system once again. We have got to stop moving in the wrong direction, which is what we have perpetually been doing for at least 6 years now.
Reverend, do you think that the state legislature is conscious of some of the issues that's involved with overcrowdedness?
Of course, I think people know what's going on. A lot of times people are silent to what they know as well, but then there are some that are beginning to speak out, some that are beginning to question what's going on. And I think it's time for that. When you talk about violence in the prison system, the safety of the correctional officers, I mean, the officers, man, they're the ones that are at a disadvantage. Every time they walk in behind those walls, they're at a disadvantage because, the inmates, they can have access to the knives and everything. The officers, although they got all the heavy artillery and all of that, outside, they got to go get it, or somebody got to bring it to them. But while they inside, man, in those units and stuff like that, they're very vulnerable to attack. I was incarcerated back in the mid-'70s and early '80s, and I was at Turney Center when one of the correctional officers, Ronald Moore, got killed down there by an inmate, And it just goes to show that, yeah, there's a lot of violence that takes place in the prison system that's not being shown. Every now and then you hear about, well, the inmate got killed here or there, but, this is happening on a regular basis in the prison system. Right? A friend of mine, his brother got killed down at Turney Center. You never heard anything about it on the news. Nowhere in that area, nowhere in Nashville area, nothing like that. But at the same time, it happened, So it's happening more and more and more. But now what's going on now is inmates have always voiced